Okay, so here we are for the battle against Pat for ICP quarterfinals. I decided to choose Pat Mac over a bunch of other coaches simply because I hadn't played them this season and realised that it was actually somebody who took over week 2, and week 2 was probably my hardest matchup. So yeah, that's always fun. We do see the 𝘽𝘼𝙎𝙬𝙀𝙀, so it does make me want to lead off with Arcanine. We actually see the Dusclops as well. Dusclops could be a little bit annoying, depending on what kind of set it is. We should have the means to be able to deal with it, but just in case we don't, then yeah, it could be a little bit annoying. We do have... do we have knockoff? No, I took my knockoff user off the team, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but we do have Terra Dark on the Gloom, so we might be fine against it, because they shouldn't really be able to hit us too hard. And it might become a stall war, but it should be a stall war that we win, I think. But I'll go ahead and lock that in. I kind of expect the 𝘽𝘼𝙎𝙬𝙀 lead, as much as it's probably very obvious that it'll be a 𝘽𝘼𝙎𝙬𝙀 lead, and they'll go with like Typhlosion instead. I think I still want to try and prevent webs from going up as much as I possibly can, because webs are no fun when there's a Metagross around. I'll tell you that much. And good luck, have fun to Pat. We're going to see Boomtastic. I mean, that's also a fine lead. I don't mind this too much at all. They're going to frisk my loaded dice, you fucker. Now you know that I'm rocking the Rock Blast. I don't die to anything, as far as I'm aware. I'm going to check, but I don't believe I even die to a Focus Blast. Unless it's Choice Specs. If it's Choice Specs, then it would. So just to scout for any shenanigans like that, I think I just want to go out into my Magnezone. Don't know why I went Magnezone on the Focus Blast, actually. I meant, my brain was like, oh, is it just going to U-turn? If it's Specs Focus Blast, then we will know. But yeah, there's the U-turn. Okay. It was just a middle ground, just in case. Clearly what I was going for. There was no ulterior motives whatsoever with that play. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Typhlosion coming out about now, which is a little bit problematic. That mon is actually very good against me. So, Pod Racer comes in. That's actually the 𝘽𝘼𝙎𝙬𝙀. Okay. So, I'm not actually going to be able to stop the webs from going up here. And that's going to be a little bit rough. But I'm still going to Volt Switch anyway. Unless you're like super fast with Specs Mudshot, there's no way you should be able to knock me out from here. And if you are, then just, you know, fair play to you. But I do expect it just to be the webs. That looks like it's going to be max HP. But this is my chance to get a free hit off with Arcanine. And their switch-ins are not exactly many. They're just going to Volt Switch. Okay. So roughly back to where we were. I don't think that was Specs, just because that was not, like, too much damage. 𝘽𝘼𝙎𝙬𝙀 comes in. Okay, well, this seems like a really telegraphed Scorching Sands. My switch-ins to this one aren't amazing. I think I do have to go into 𝘬𝘼𝙎𝑬𝑚. And as long as they don't Terra, 𝘬𝘬𝙎𝑬𝑚 can actually just take this one on. Yeah, they just Scorching Sands. It's going to do nothing. Hopefully no burn. Excellent news. Okay, so I think here we should be able to get some momentum, or should we get damage? Like, Hydro Pump hits so much of this team. Now, I could also Shadow Ball. There's like really no downside to Shadow Balling. The only thing that can come in on it is going to be the Porygon Z, and I don't think you want to bring the Porygon Z in on this. So I'll go for a Shadow Ball. We should be faster than most of this team as well. There could be like a Trick Room angle that they're going to go for. With, like... Wow, okay. I thought that was like the last one that wanted to come in on this. Okay. I'm just going to go out into my Magnezone. They can double if they want. That was crazy. I should have just gone for a Flip Turn, but I thought, like, there's no way you want to take a Hydro Pump or anything like that from... Maybe it's Assault Vest itself. Maybe it's the attempt to switch into this mon. But there shouldn't be any one move that... Like, Shadow Ball is going to do a lot, actually. If it's Specs. It's not Specs though. They don't have a ground type, do they? No. So this is actually a really free Volt Switch. How much is Magnezone to this? Actually, that could be Specs. 26%. Nah, that was way less than 26. So maybe it's just like Assault Vest to try and take this mon on, or take on some of the mons on my team. I could Terra Steel, but I think that's just not the play right now. I think it's going to generally be better for me to Volt Switch. They just try attack. Again, that's not going to do a lot. And this Volt Switch should do around half. Just under. Arcanine should take one of everything. Yeah. It'll take one of everything, and we can just at least scare this mon out. It's lefties. Okay. So there's really no downside to clicking Head Smash at this point, because we get damage on literally everything. And I guess they could also want to just stay in and like sack the damage in an attempt to get a status or get damage on this mon itself. Alternatively, they just go into Metagross, but all damage on Metagross is appreciated, so yeah. Wingspan comes in. It should do a lot. That's not bad damage. What's it going to be, like Nightshade that comes out? Definitely could be Nightshade, could be like a Trick Room. I'm just going to bring Gloom in, because I think the Gloom should be okay against this mon. I think. Kind of wishing that I had Leech Seed right now, but yeah, there's the Nightshade. There's part of me that really wants to Terra Dark, because you don't break Terra Dark very easily. But is it also a little bit too early? It might be a little too early. You know what? I think I'm just going to go for it. Because they don't have amazing Dark type switch-ins. Porygon's going to consistently take damage. We know it's not Specs, but it's still going to do too much damage for me to want to stay in. But regardless, it should be like 20-ish%. Depending on how invested this is. Yeah, that's respectable enough. I can always bring in Magnezone on this. Zone's checking a couple of things at this point, but it's also outsped by most things on this team. So I think I would rather go into Zone. And this time I just want to click Thunderbolt, because it should pick up the kill from here. Just looking at damage. They're going to recover. Okay. Is there any reason to not Thunderbolt, really? No, I don't think there is. So yeah, I'm just going to click Thunderbolt. They're just going to try attack. And that will be a 2-week KO, apart from we get the Para. And that actually is, I think, bad for me, because now I don't get the analytic boost. I guess it's also good for me, because I can now theoretically just kill this mon. Will I still get... Hang on. If it's like no investment, then we would outspeed it, yeah. And it's unfortunately just too healthy for me to be able to take down. So I think the best play is going to be the Volt Switch. I'm pretty sure that they want to recover here. Maybe that Thunderbolt would have taken it out. It's really hard to tell with that roll. And I'll just go out into Sliddle. They just try attack. Okay. That's fine. Right, there's part of me that really wants to Stun Spore on the Switch, because like the Noivern's so obvious. Is it still? I think it's still just better for me to click U-turn though. I think it's always going to be better for me to click U-turn. Wingspan comes in. Yes, hello, I have a Rocky helmet. And I think this time there's no downside to going into you at all. Like, literally no downside. Because if they go out into their Porygon afterwards, we should just be able to knock it out. Shadow Ball is incredibly free. Yeah, I could have Hydroed, but Like, max HP takes 26 to 31 from a flip turn. I want to say that's in range. The one thing I don't want is for this to take too much damage and not be able to check things that it needs to check. Because realistically, 𝘽𝘼𝙎𝘾 becomes a way bigger problem. Yeah, 𝘽𝘼𝙎𝘾 also becomes a way bigger problem, so I'm just gonna hope that this kills. That's a little tough. And I mean, I just go into you. They are gonna recover. That's really annoying. I should have just flipped initially. They're not gonna let their Dusclops take that much damage. I'm just gonna T-bolt. I'll just T-bolt this thing until it gets, like, because eventually it's gonna get parried, you would assume. And I can't keep taking chip on other mons at the expense of this fucking Magnezone that's also not taking any hits at this point. Okay, Pod Racer comes back in. It's definitely going to take a lot more damage from this one. I say, as we do virtually no damage. And I would just T-bolt this thing. As is often the case, it's probably going to be more of a defensive Wincon this week. I just need to make sure my Gloom stays relatively healthy. And then priority will probably be the end game, as always with this team. Priority is basically like what this team excels at, so. Just going to chip this thing down. They do have the Mud Shot, that's fire. Coulda, shoulda, woulda Volt Switched, but you know, it's life, isn't it? I will just go out into Arcanine. I want to say that Dusclops is really close to being into a KO range. I don't really want to miss Head Smash, but the damage roll is just so extreme. I have to go for the Head Smash. If they bring in Metagross, then they bring in Metagross, but yeah, it is going to be this fat fucker. Okay, yeah, that's now dying to a Flare Blitz. I could also Rock Blast. It's not really Rock Blast. I'm just gonna Flare Blitz. There's no reason for me to fuck around, right? Let's just kill the Dusclops. Hangry comes in. That is going to be you once again. You're almost definitely going to be Terra Grass. You're still really good here, though. Hatterene looks a little bit less good. I think the one thing you don't do is go for an Eruption. There's too many other mons that can switch into an Eruption, so I want to make the mid ground. Go into Hatterene on what I think might be a Terra Grass Terra Blast, because that would 2 KO my Basculegion. And honestly, of all the mons to lose here, I think Hatterene is the most expendable. They're going to be Terra Grass? Terra Fairy. Interesting. And a Shadow Ball. Okay. It's not going to do enough. Now, do I just want my damage? Puts me down to 197. Can I gauge whether or not that is choiced? That is not choice specs. Did 37%, so maybe Modest Scarf. Nuzzle wouldn't gain me all that much progress. I think Psychic Noise is the best all-round play. Metagross comes in. Then Metagross comes in, like what can you do about that? Big X, okay. I really wanted to Nuzzle, but I wasn't real. Now I will use my Slitherwing here to switch in. Its entire role in this game really was just to try and get damage off on this Metagross. Meteor Mash, not going to take me out. And it's going to take the Rocky Helmet. It would also, it has to take a first impression here. Yeah, I'll just go for a first impression. There's no reason for me to do anything else. Get my damage on this. Get my damage on 𝘼𝘼𝙎 if 𝘼𝘼𝙎 comes in. If anything else comes in, I get my damage on that as well. Do I think it's going to have Terra... It might have Terra Blast on 𝘼𝘼𝙎, because what other moves do you really need? They are going to withdraw. I assume 𝘼𝘼𝙎 coming in? Yeah. That's pretty good damage, actually. And I think you probably just U-turn to keep up momentum, so I'm going to go for a U-turn my own. If you kill me, you kill me. But I would like that little bit of chip. You've seen that I've got like a 𝘖𝘖𝑚, I've got basculegion, you know they're AV from the damage I took, so I want to say that you click U-turn, but if you don't, then this one is arguably the most expendable one on my team. They flamethrower, okay. I could bring in Gloom, because it takes any one hit here. Click Synthesis. Becomes really difficult to deal with. I can also just go into U, which I think is the better play, and just click Nuzzle. Or do I click Mystical Fire? Get real big damage. I'm going to go for the Mystical Fire. So I think that's probably choice locked, just from how, yeah, just from how they're playing it. If this shows weakness policy, which it doesn't, I was about to say, if it shows weakness policy, then I will just stay in. Do I need to, I think I need to keep this around. You're something of a mid-ground play. Like, we're getting to a point in which we can't deal with 𝘼𝘼𝙎 particularly well. So I do need to be careful around that. Which realistically means that I need to keep my basculegion healthy. But there's like no downside to meteor mashing here. Just going to go for it. We should outspeed with basculegion, so even if they knock off, we should live the hit. They just meteor mash and they're going to miss. That is absolute best case scenario for me. And I am just going to click Hydro Pump, because it should always kill from here. A miss for a miss would be a little bit just, but that wasn't doing a whole lot of damage to me regardless. They're actually just going to stay in. And that's going to kill. Okay, so Metagross going down. Really, really nice for 𝘖𝘖𝑚. It's literally going to be 𝘼𝘼𝙎 against the world. Whatever comes in here, I'm just going to click... What, like, flip turn? He needs to weaken this for 𝘼𝘼𝙎 to win. Pod Race is going to come in. That makes sense. At this point, Arcanine is not super helpful. Gloom could be helpful if it's not running Terra Blast on 𝘼𝘼𝙎. I do like the priority though, so I could keep the priority around. I'm just trying to work out what I want to potentially sack here. Because assuming Vikavolt here is max Spadef, or at least like max HP, I don't think I want to stay in. I'd rather keep this Mon alive. This is like my one kind of failsafe. So yeah. Might have been able to pick up the kill of Hydro, but I don't want to risk it. At this point, that Mon is pretty much my win con. And the electric move can come out. There's like no downside to it whatsoever. Do I take and single hit with Arcanine? Potentially. Thunderbolt would do too much, I believe. It would be a roll if it's just modest. I guess like after that I've got to just go... Yeah, I'm just going to go into you. They just Volt Switch, so we should live that. I'm just going to E-Speed this. That should be enough. How much was Shadow Ball? We knew it wasn't Specs. How much does that do to my basculegion? Shadow Ball does 26 to 30 if it's just timid. So this is always my play. and I Shadow Ball into Aqua Jet. If I guess I could also have just gone for like an attack, but gone for Hydro Pump even and try to pick up the KO. The issue then becomes like that I can't. The Porygon Z is still around, so I'd rather take a Shadow Ball on this, or from this, than from Porygon. Yeah, they're just going to Shadow Ball for damage. We Shadow Ball right back. Look at that Spider-Man meme. And I'm just going to Jet. Once again, priority. Coming in pretty clutch. They have seen our full moveset on this, and that we may actually not be able to break down Noivern. But also, Noivern should never be able to break down us, especially because it's choiced. Or, I believe it's choiced. The only other one is Porygon. Do I actually need to keep this healthy for that? I'll just Shadow Ball. I'm gonna Hurricane. That does a lot of damage. We're gonna do a lot of damage in return. How much does my Hatterene take from Hurricane? Maybe that was Specs. How much did it do to my Basculegion? Certainly did more than that, so I think it is Specs. So is the better way of playing around this? I think the better way of playing around this is to go into Drippy Dave and sadly sack off Drippy Dave. And then go into Hatterene. Because we are fairly fast on Hatterene as well. It actually lived one. I will Moonblast in case it misses. 𝘽𝘼𝙎𝙬's in the chat for Gloom. Drippy Dave, you were here. So, I'm gonna click Draining Kiss. No two ways about it, I'm clicking Draining Kiss here. Because we have some speed, maybe we're faster than Porygon Z. Like, we never actually, they are gonna draw. But we never actually saw how fast it was. So you always go into Porygon and you always click Shadow Ball here. We know how fast you are, or how bulky you are. So I do need to Psychic Noise, but I think I Psychic Noise into Draining Kiss, and I just gotta kind of hope that I outspeed you. We do. But doesn't Draining Kiss actually knock it out from there? That like 30%. How much do I take? I've got to look it up. How much do I take from Noivern? One thing I've got to check is that I was about 60-ish% with Gloom, Hurricane, Terra Dark. It might. I don't know. I don't know what. I think it's Scarfed. I don't think it is Specs. It's hard to say though. I think regardless, I've got to at least attempt this. I don't think I have the ability to click Draining Kiss there, because it just didn't look like it killed in any world. So it will literally just come down to whether or not, firstly, he can hit 2 Hurricanes, and also whether or not they knock me out from 136. Which, if it is Specs, it will. So we're just going to Draining Kiss. They land the Hurricane. Does it kill? It does kill. Okay. So GG to Pat Mac. This was a really, really close game. I think this genuinely came down to whether or not I clicked Hydro Pump on one turn over not clicking Hydro Pump. They land the Hurricane. They missed the Hurricane. Oh my god, Pat. I am so sorry, but also you did hit every Hurricane prior, so the odds were in my favour, but that was a game. If you had hit the Meteor Mash earlier, I wouldn't have been at this much health, So did I deserve to win that one? You can leave it up to you, but a win's a win. We carry on the unbeaten season now. We're 9-0 going into semi-finals. That was probably the least deserved win, arguably, the season. But yeah, GG to Pat Mac. Yeah, his link will be down in the description below. Make sure to go check him out. I haven't played them for a long time, not since like middle of Gen 8, I think. Like you enjoyed the battle, subscribe, and basculegion, I guess, is just kind of the GOAT. But damn, what a game. Until next one, have a great day, guys. Peace.